Good afternoon to you. My name is Kemigisa Jackie. With me is Jackie Asiimwe. Well, today we're going to talk about Black Monday. I'll leave her to give you the details of what is Black Monday and why it's called Black Monday.
Okay. Black Monday is a citizen movement against theft of public resources. And by public resources, we mean the tax that we pay as Ugandans, as well as donations we get from development partners. Towards the end of last year, in September, October, scandals broke about theft of money from the office of the Prime Minister that was meant for northern Uganda, that was meant for rehabilitation and restoration of northern Uganda after 20 years of civil war. And as civil society leaders, we thought we needed to express our deep disappointment, our deep grief at the plight. You know, not only have these people come out of 20 years of insurgency, on top of that, money that was meant to rebuild the society is stolen by the office that is supposed to be discharging this responsibility. So we said, you know, as Ugandans, first, black is our color as Africans. Black is a symbol of mourning. And so in November, we said, let's congregate on a Monday and go and mourn the theft of these resources and mourn the fact that when we steal resources, it actually means lives. People are dying. So we assembled at Showground, where the first Black Monday was supposed to be. We found that it was cordoned off by police. So we went to HURINET, Uganda, Human Rights Network of Uganda. And it was after that event, because it was so successful, you know, lots of people came and mobilized. We thought, you know, let's not stop here. Let's actually make it a routine. And so that's how Black Monday was born. It was actually born on a Friday of the Monday when we did the action. And we said, you know, every Monday, let's galvanize, let's mobilize Ugandans to say enough is enough. We can't continue stealing with impunity. Something must happen. People must be brought to book. And we were also very purposeful about calling it theft, because when you call it corruption, it seems it can become academic. But everyone understands stealing is bad. You shouldn't steal from poor people of all people. You shouldn't steal money meant for them, and that when they steal, it is my money, it is your money, it is our money as Ugandans that they are stealing, and we should all be annoyed at it.
So how really is that? How effective is the movement?
I think it's effective in that many conversations have happened since then. Many leaders have started calling this theft, taking on our language, but also we have, you know, it's a campaign, and therefore part of the campaign strategy is to mobilize either one-on-one, through churches, through the radio, and we've had those platforms. We've mobilized with students, we haven't reached everyone, but we are reaching one Ugandan at a time.
Okay. Wouldn't you say the movement is simply reactionary?
But when something is stolen from you, don't you react? Are you supposed to sort of, you know, it doesn't faze you? Because I think for too long, in fact, we haven't reacted. And for too long, we've been told the story that government is addressing the issue of corruption. But almost every day you open the newspaper, you hear news reports, more money has been stolen. And somehow the money is piled, very few people are convicted, very little of that money is ever recovered. So we must react. I mean, it's like the only possible way. If you are a living human being and something is stolen from you, you run after the thief, you catch you do something. And that is what we're trying to galvanize around Black Monday, for any ordinary Ugandan to do something. At the very least, educate yourself about why theft is bad. Educate yourself about what that stolen money could mean for yourself, for the future of your children, for the future of this country. demand from your leaders, from the local level to the highest, that theft stops, do something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Considering that corruption scandals were uncovered were not uncovered by civil society, but the media, how much control do you think Black Monday has?
I think we are, Black Monday is not the beginning and end. There are so many players. Like I said, there are already the institutions that are supposed to address the issue. So the IGG will not go away, neither will the courts of law, neither will the CID department, neither will members of parliament, the various committees that have oversight and pick up some of these. What the media does is amplify. What Black Monday does is also amplify in another way. So we all play the same role. And Black Monday is also an addition to what is already happening. We have organizations whose everyday work is unearthing corruption. We may not hear the stories, but they are there. So from as little as organizing communities around UPE schools to report when there's shoddy work or when work is not done, health teams and village health teams to train them to also report corruption. So ours is merely a voice that says, on top of what all of us have been doing, all Ugandans need to care about the theft of their money.
So donors are likely to go in bed with the government later this year. Where does that leave the Black Monday movement?
Well, I guess you can't necessarily choose who they go to bed with. One message that we did pass very strongly through the media and through personal letters to each embassy for the monies that were stolen was that, yes, we understand the money shouldn't have been stolen, but you should also demand, while you're demanding the government pay back, ask the question, where is it coming from? Because you can't sit back and be satisfied that government has still gone back to these same coffers and picked out money to pay you back. It does not serve Ugandans. It means we are cutting our budget. Some things will not happen this year that should have happened because we are paying you back. You need, as donors, to demand sterner action from government. Government needs to walk the talk more seriously. So we've said that to them publicly, we've said that to them in writing, and I think we've also told them to their face, and I'm sure they know that if they go back, yes, they're going to set benchmarks, but they know the person they're dealing with. Yeah.
Okay. Isn't the media hype around Black Mondays, did you say it's the similar hype that they had for or have for like women activists?
I think anything new and innovative sells, and we understand that the media can be both an ally, but they're also looking out for their own interests. They are profit making, they need to make profit, and you make profit from what sells and what your consumers want. So we totally understand that. But we also challenge them that beyond that, you are also Ugandan. It is also your money that's being stolen. You, who is behind the camera, who is behind the microphone, it is your money as well. So while you may be covering it as a story, it is no longer just a story. It is about you. So as you point the finger this way, the three are towards you, and so you too should do something. And yes, we applaud the media. They've really used their platform, and whether or not they create hype, that's their spin. Like I said, for us, and many things that we do as Black Monday don't get covered. The one-on-one meetings we have, whether with border stages, whether, in my local community, in my church, those stories aren't covered. What is covered is, they've been arrested, but that's not the end-all and be-all of Black Monday. That's the story as the media pitches it.
Okay, so do you think it culturally resonates?
Like I said, the reason why we shifted from corruption to theft is because theft resonates. Everybody knows a thief. In every language in Uganda, there's a word for a thief. And everybody knows and understands that to steal is bad. And that in fact, even when we raise our children, we teach them not to steal. Okay? So we take it from that local level and say, so if you can train your child, when we give government money in taxes, they should also not steal. We should demand the same standard of everybody.
So what would you say is the difference between Black Monday and 4GC?
Ours is a citizens' movement. 4GC is a political party grouping coming together. They also have a right to do what they are doing. We have defined ours as citizen because the citizen is central in this fight. It is about the citizen for the citizen. We have also said very clearly and categorically, ours is non-violent. And we use non-violent means for a political end, that corruption will stop, that good governance will flourish in this country. Different people use different tactics. 4GC, like I said, have every right because we all proceed under our constitution that guarantees us the freedom of association and speech. They have a right to associate the way they are associating, as do we citizens have a right to associate as we do.
So what do you intend to achieve that Uganda would associate with?
If we can galvanize, if we can awaken the conscience of more Ugandans about it's not their money, it's not the money of people in Kampala that's being stolen, but the consciousness that when they steal money, they steal from you. If we can get that consciousness, we will have done a great job. If we can reach out and mobilize action, we will have done our job. The journey, as the Chinese proverb says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. We are at our baby steps, we recognize that. Come back in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Movements take time to build, they take time to be cohesive. It takes time for, especially in Uganda, for people to come out of fear and apathy. And those are great forces that we're fighting. Fear to say, if I do, I will be arrested. Or apathy to say, after all, what can I do? So to overcome those doesn't take 2 days, 2 months. It takes a long time. And so we are in it, we are committed to the journey, and we shall reach our destination of a clean, theft-free, well-governed Uganda.
We are yet to hope for that. So, wouldn't you say that Ugandans like to associate or be more, or react, or be, move hand in hand with a more, let's say, I wouldn't call it violent, but if we are talking in an example for GC, like the crowd that it usually gathers, the need to to be spoken out loud, the need for police to arrest you once in a while, for police to put a stop when you're demonstrating and you simply head back to your offices. Wouldn't you say that for Ugandans to feel like you're doing something, the police has to be involved?
I don't think that's the benchmark of success necessarily. I think we must be aware the context that we are working in, and the context that we are working in, on top of fear and apathy, is one of severe repression of civic rights. That's why they go after 4GC. And I don't know that it necessarily advances the cause, but unfortunately that's the context in which we live. And like I said, we have stressed that ours is a citizen movement. Anyone is free to join, whatever your political leaning, it doesn't matter, whatever your religion, whatever your tribe, the issue is you're Ugandan and your money is being stolen. At least get that. And that there are different ways to reach out. Street demonstrations are a credible way, and there are other ways to do it. Like I said, if I stand up and speak to my church, of course I'll do it indoors. If I go to speak on the radio, if I go back to my former school that I was and I speak, what we are doing, any movement that needs to build needs to mobilize. And mobilizing doesn't always necessarily have to do with confrontation. In fact, the times that Black Monday activists have been arrested, it isn't that we have been on, that we have been confrontational, rather that they have picked us up doing the ordinary work of just, giving out leaflets about the corruption scandals, talking to people. Some people were arrested when they tried to go to some churches to speak. So it's been those ordinary things that we do every day and speak about every day. So I don't want us to think that when there's police arrest and therefore media hype and drama, that's not what we're about. Like I said, ours is a long-term cause, and that's what we need to remain focused on.
You keep mentioning in your talk or speech, we. Could you care to elaborate who do we mean?
We, I mean, the we is we are many. I can't count the ways or the people. There are organizations that are leading this, including the National NGO Forum, including ActionAid Uganda, including the Anti-Corruption Coalition of Uganda. But there are also many of us individuals that are not affiliated to any of these. There are women's rights organizations like Forward Day, FIDA, you know. So there are institutions as well as individuals from all over this country that are with and pro our action.
Very interesting. And so, wouldn't you say, you said you're a lawyer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from your lawyer point of view, would you say that the arrests of that have been made, or the stops that have been made by the police to stop the movement, maybe the last time you demonstrated and was stopped, and then the last time I think it's Bishop.
It wasn't actually a demonstration. We've never actually demonstrated. I think the demonstration that we did have, it wasn't even a demonstration. The very first one was just a morning. We had identified a public place that we would go, and they stopped us. When they arrested Bishop Zach and 8 other students, they were handing out leaflets. So it wasn't even a demonstration. And I'm not even saying that that's not a legitimate method to demand what you want as a citizen, but we haven't yet used it. So when it's called a demonstration, that's not what it is. That's not what we were even doing. So
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kemigisa Jackie is my name. Thank you very much.